Hello and happy Monday. We're back here live on a Monday. Why not Monday Market 15, the 15-minute show that takes grossly over 15 minutes, but we're here for you every day, sort of, every Monday. With me as always, the bright, the wonderful, I got to come up with different adjectives, but Miss Perkins herself. Right? Oh, no, that's not Miss Perkins.
No.
There she is. Right. I switched the scenes up a little bit. But we do have a special guest. I will let you announce him, Ms. Perkins.
Yeah, so I do have a special guest. As you guys know, I work for Great American Title, and congratulations to Braden Dennis. He is now our new, what would you say, sales manager? Badass, like, going to take over our company and make us, like, amazing.
He's got $1 million smile, too.
He does have $1 million. I know, I need to, like, wipe my teeth now. I feel like they're not as light. Yeah. Okay, there's that.
Anyway, so are we done with the introduction?
Yeah.
We're here to talk about the housing market. Where do we want to start, Miss?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
So if you guys have not heard about this knock.com, it's actually pretty magical.
We're starting there.
Yeah, we're going. Just do it. Just do it.
All right, I was barely I was barely looking at this earlier.
And I'm there.
Oh God. Okay, so I'm pulling it up now.
singer.
This knock.com. So if anybody hasn't heard of knock.com, Ashley has. She brought it to me like 5 minutes ago. I don't know really a whole lot of information about it.
Well, the reason I brought it is because we were talking about like buy now, pay later, and then all of a sudden knock.com like came to my brain. Because we do talk a lot of stuff that is outside of real estate and then trying to figure out how to like relate it back to real estate.
Yep.
And this came up and it's pretty cool.
So tell us about knock.com. Not that we're sponsored by knock.com, but if
No.
they do want to sponsor us, we will be gladly opening up that paycheck, that bank account for us.
Yeah, it's a wonderful program where you can go in and they'll actually pre-approve you and you can purchase a home prior to actually selling your home. So there's no contingencies on that.
That does cut out the real estate agent, but
I'm sorry, Robert. I still love you.
I know. She's very mean to me until she wants to buy a house, and then she finds ways to help you guys out there.
Yeah.
So there's a home buying program where you don't necessarily need a lender. They basically pay for it, and I'm guessing they put some sort of lien on your current home or some sort. I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. We're looking at it right now.
Oh God!
I do know is it does
lack of preparing.
It does take out the lender. It does take out the real estate agent, and it does take out the title company as well. But that's not. We're not here to promote ourselves. We're here to share and educate you on opportunities that are available, in hopes that you'll fall in love with us and
especially
tell your friends and family.
We have no idea what the program is, and we're sharing it out there. But I guess there are programs out there that'll help a home buyer out there. Mm-hmm. This whole buy now, pay later thing is a little. Is I guess a trending hashtag right now.
It's definitely trending, yeah. I think once Amazon bought Affirm, I feel like that was a huge thing for the buy now, pay later. That's
Wait,
for sure.
Amazon bought what?
Affirm. So Affirm is like
Affirm.
Yeah, AFFIRM. So you go on there, you can buy anything on Amazon and pay it over time.
And then you're like 3 payments over 3 months or
Yep.
whatever the case may be. I'm not into that.
Yeah. Well, Peloton was the big one that came out with it. So they were partnered
who
with
needs a
Affirm.
Peloton?
As opposed to buying the $3,000 bike, it was like a $49.99 payment or whatever for the rest of your life.
Is it like freaking QVC? Like seriously, like not interested in that.
Right.
But I grew up in it with my grandparents raised me. A lot of you guys know that who watch me, and it's like cash is king. If you can't afford it, don't buy it.
Right.
And so credit cards, I didn't even get my first credit card. We've talked about this till I was 36.
She grew up in Cornville.
That's just not the day and age we live in today. That's for sure. Everyone's just leveraging their debt as much as they can, I feel like.
I was doing some research on my actual home that I live in right now and found the original owners, which it took a while because it was in the 1970s. So tax records, and we're in title and we have access to pretty much almost any record you can think of. Yep. Finally found it after some recon, and it probably was a waste of time, but I'm not a TV watcher, so I just was sitting at home and looking it up. But they bought my house originally for $14,000 in 1970. Holy shit. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad he knows.
I mean, just going on that tangent, but it's just amazing with like the inflation and how we're paying for things these days.
Yep.
Did they buy now and pay later?
Yeah.
The reason I brought that up is because lately, there's been a lot of talk about basically this market right now and the trajectory of things, and I think there are hints in the way things are forming and looking at our retail environment, period. I mean, home purchasing right now is its own retail environment, not commercial properties. It's residential we talk about, but that's also indicative of kind of the circumstances we're involved in right now. It's the Christmas season, so here, I'll put this up real quick. So it's a news article that basically talks about the Black Friday stuff. Are you guys out shopping?
Hell no.
Nope, online.
Yeah, and that's the majority of it. So what the article points to is that there's not a lot of foot traffic, and so the concern I have in the retail environment is that they're going to close up. And obviously, if there's not foot traffic in the retail environment, it's all going online. Then a lot of those jobs are kind of on the chopping block, and if those jobs are on the chopping block, employment's going to decrease, which also means that there's not going to be income for home purchasing.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of aspects, and things we have to consider. And is this a trend going into the new year?
Yeah, I also feel like consumers are just getting more educated as well. I think the Amazon of the buy it now and get it in a day has kind of changed the retail market. And,
I agree.
I think the fact that Amazon's opened up a few retail storefronts kind of just shows it's more or less pricing the product correctly and being competitive in the marketplace as opposed to, which also is indicative of the real estate market.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny, I guess.
That's the point.
So it's reflective, and there's talks about recession. We haven't had technically a recession yet, but every bit of everybody in finance kind of knows that there is one, or there's going to be one,
we're in one.
We're in one, and how significant that's going to be and how it's going to impact things is a trajectory forward on how housing is projected to do in the next year, in the next couple of years.
Yep.
What's your prediction, Braden?
I feel like we're about as balanced as a market can be in Arizona anyways. I feel like obviously there's a lot of other states that are having different factors and stuff of like the weather and seasonality to it right now. But, like we just saw, I mean, inventory has gone down in the last month, which I feel like has been a huge impact on our real estate market here in the Valley. It's just the fact that, for a while there we were adding 1,000 homes a week. And that has pretty much come to a halt. If anything, it's starting to go the other way now. So obviously there's still demand there. And there's just so much in the commercial space in terms of companies moving here and just industries just thriving in Arizona. I think a lot has to do with Doug Ducey making it really beneficial for businesses to come here.
I freaking love Doug Ducey, and I'm not even a political person.
He's done amazing things for Arizona, no question about it. You can't argue that.
How do you feel about Katie Hobbs? It's not a political show.
Right.
I actually think she's pretty cool, too.
You can tap out. You can tap out.
I'm going to tap.
You can tap out of that one. I won't load you up on there because we're talking about Phoenix housing, not our political stance or who you voted for. Who did you vote for?
No.
There you go.
I'm curious.
Yes, ma'am.
Last show we had, how many houses were on the market? It was like 20-something thousand. Now we're at, 16?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because if you point to the charts, so we do this pseudo kind of like metering every week, and there was a while there we kicked up to about at the beginning of the year we were 3,000 homes on market supply, and then it slowly creeped up in May, creeped up to
20
something. Yeah,
almost 26. I think.
I would say that the peak was around 25,000 homes, and now we're around 16,000. So the question of the day is this seasonality? Or is this an indication of where our market's going? People aren't selling. People aren't putting their houses on market. And, we had a crazy kind of ride there where we just saw listings kind of perking up and concerned that people wouldn't be able to sell. But obviously we're selling something.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's you've obviously seen a lot of days on market going up.
Yep.
People that have cash obviously aren't as impacted by interest rates. And I feel like there's a lot of still luxury home purchases going on in Arizona and Paradise Valley and Scottsdale and Cave Creek.
It's those dang Californians. They're buying up all of our Arizona houses.
We get about 150, 3 a day?
Yeah, I think I
Arizona?
haven't been able to pull the recent migration stats, but the last time we checked, it was roughly about 300 still people positive migration into Phoenix, Arizona, which is crazy because where the hell they all go?
Oh, I do know because I was at NASCAR in the beginning of November, and I was helping my son.
I think those are the Texans coming in. I think those are the Californians.
I was helping my son with a charity event because he's in the junior ROTC, and you walk around and you do the 50-50 and raise money, and I was chatting with these people. I'm like, where are you guys from? Like, oh, we just moved here. They're living in Tolson, East Buckeye, or West Buckeye.
All them farm.
There was one little town or something, and it was like, where? That's where they're moving.
Yeah.
I mean, in Morristown.
I mean, if I were to move out of state and go to a different state, I wouldn't know everything about it and where the hot spots are. And so I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I get a brand new home in this nice community, and it's not necessarily where people from Arizona think is the hot spot, but they're still meets all their needs, I guess. And
further out west you go to Buckeye, the more hot it gets with the nuclear plant out there.
Oh, that is very true. And well, freaking Apache Junction is like blowing up ever since they moved that prison away and they moved it to Globe.
I didn't even know that.
Apache Junction has been like exploding.
Well, and there's just so many master planned communities out here that it doesn't really matter which city you're in per se, because there's just plenty of stuff still to do there, and everything in those outlier areas is brand new. So
I guess it does depend on like
centers and
what your ventures are. Like we love sports. We're always going to like Suns games and baseball games. Like that's kind of our jam. And so you really have to position yourself to what works for you. So
what's weird about Arizona though, or what I don't like about Arizona, is the fact that they're all spread out.
So annoying. They didn't used to be that way.
Some of them in Glendale, now some of them are in Tempe. So it's like it doesn't really matter where you are. You're driving depending on the sport.
Yeah, fair.
Are we seeing a lot of like since we're talking about sports, because we're hosting the Super Bowl this year. I do know a couple guys that went out and bought houses pretty close to the Glendale Stadium, hoping for a big benefit. But then after that, what do you do?
Right.
Because I know there's a huge kind of like this migration, I guess, but it's temporary. I truly believe it's temporary in the Glendale area, because if you live there, you may kind of look around and see that's really underdeveloped.
Yep.
Is that something that people should invest in? Braden, you're up.
Ooh, that's a great question.
Shotgun.
I feel like, especially in the secondary home market, there's so many people that have invested in homes in Scottsdale and Paradise Valley and Cave Creek and stuff, which are like the hot touristy areas, that I feel like those outlier cities are actually probably good areas to pick up those second home investments or the short-term rental properties, because they're not overly saturated like Scottsdale is in some of these other markets, where every investor from out of state's like, oh, well, I need a Scottsdale Airbnb because that's what everyone's doing. And so that's the trend. And so as opposed to like being one of 100 in 85258, maybe you're one of 4 in Glendale, or in a certain zip code in Glendale.
And if you're looking at kind of the recession from from 2008, I think recession-resistant areas tend to be Scottsdale and Tempe.
Yep.
I didn't see any other area. Maybe Gilbert now, because it's a little bit more infrastructure than it was in 2008. But I would say pretty resistant are Tempe, because you got ASU there, and Scottsdale because you got a lot of people with discretionary incomes.
Yeah, and everyone that flies in, where am I going? Typically, they're going to Scottsdale.
Right.
You're not flying into Arizona to go to Goodyear per se.
Well, but I mean, Gilbert though has really stepped up its game. I mean, when we went out with in Gilbert, that was fun. Like we went downtown. And it's like its whole little like town and city, and
yeah.
I mean, I hate driving out there. I feel like it's like I need to pack a sleeping bag and a lunchbox to go out there. But it's actually
Jacks.
like stepping up.
Oh yeah, no, there's plenty of things out there.
And I think that's going to start happening in Goodyear. I think we're going to start having these small little towns within Maricopa County, which is kind of weird.
But that's how you retain people in those communities.
Right.
You have to have some sort of infrastructure. I mean, I think the learning lesson from the whole like lockdown pandemic thing is like, we get bored at home. We wanted to be when we were working away at work and being caught up in traffic, we wanted to work at home. We got a whole hell of a lot of work at home, and now we just want to be out and kind of engaging the community. I mean, people are out there wearing masks like literally 6 months after COVID started. Like, I'm done with this shit already. They're already out there. And that's kind of Arizona too, by the way. So if you're from California, we don't wear masks.
Well, and that's what we also have to remind ourselves too is like, when I lived in New York and I wanted to go to a ball game and it was in the Bronx, right? You have to take a train, like planes, automobiles, just to go to a freaking sports game.
Yep.
That was so inconvenient. I hated it. Now it's like I just hop in an Uber and it's freaking 20 minutes away. So I'm spoiled. But I forget that people who are coming from other places, they're used to that.
Yep.
They're used to the commute and the drive. When I was like, oh, it's 45 minutes away, they're like, oh, that's nothing. Yeah. I'm like, dude, no, that's not happening.
I mean, I feel like that's a huge factor of another reason why people are coming to Arizona. I mean, as much as we joke about the grid system, it is amazing. I mean, the easy to commute around town, the freeway system's awesome. I mean, we sit in traffic and it's nothing compared to some of these other states, especially California.
Yeah, you don't appreciate
Austin,
Phoenix
Texas.
traffic until you get to LA.
Right.
Dude, I had to sit in traffic the other day. I made an appointment. This was a terrible decision. And I didn't think about it. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll meet you at 3. And the appointment finished like 4:30. And I'm on the highway and I'm going, Oh my gosh. Like it was such a nightmare. I'm like, I'm never doing this again.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't deal. So I totally understand why I keep asking, like, why is everyone moving here? And now I just answer my own question.
Oh, it's affordable. Now the prices are coming down. You see that pretty much across the board. All the prices are coming down. I'm making offers with my buyers, like, 50 to 100,000 off a list, and not getting a no right away. I mean, I'm still getting no's, but some like are, well, can they come up with just a little bit more? And you're like,
No.
not right now. Why? What are you offering? You send me a counter. It's got a different environment completely. But as we look at a little bit more of the charts, looking at a housing supply at 3.7, we've just been kind of floating there. Mm-hmm. We haven't been growing our inventory, but stuff has been selling. So it's steady. It's not shifting. There's not these big swings, and you saw it in our inventory, our kind of pseudo number before, which is like 16,000. And that's dropped from the last, I think, 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. We were at 20,000 like 2 weeks ago. So people aren't listing.
Yep.
We may not have buyers, but people aren't listing either. So the buyers that we do have are buying houses. People are still buying houses, even at 6.6%.
Which is still freaking low. I mean, relatively. I don't know. Like we talk about it, and Brayden, you're
Historically, for sure.
how old are you again?
For sure.
32.
32. Okay, so Brayden's a little bit younger. I bought my first house at almost 8%.
Oh, yeah.
And like I thought that was low.
I did mine too. Yeah.
And now my own house right now, I think we're at like 2. Who knows what we're at, like 2 something.
I bought my first home on Chandler Heights and Higley, 130,000.
Yeah.
And now that's kind of like
You remember the interest rate?
It was roughly about 7.5%, 8%.
Yeah, it was somewhere in that range. It was like
I think
7.
my first house was like 4.25,
Yeah,
and that
that's
was
like
2013.
that's still low.
It's because he's a youngin', 32 years old. That youngin' don't.
Back in the day.
Back in my day.
Oh, boy. But yeah, interest rates are definitely, you will hear that they went down this month, but honestly, they started about 6.5.
Yeah.
And they shot up to about 7. So when we took a swing back to 6.6, they did lower.
Yep.
But it went back to where they were at the beginning of the month. So it's like, well, so you got to read past the headlines a little bit.
Well, and anytime you look up an interest rate online, we talk about this all the time. It's not exactly the interest rate you're going to get because there's many factors. And when you listen to some of our podcasts with our lenders on, they can get into detail and explain that. So don't always believe everything you read online. That's why we.
Yeah, I think again, it's all individual. So we may give you blanket advice, and we kind of hint around a lot. We're not financial planners, advisors by any means. But we will hint around a lot about who you should talk to. And really the starting place is talking to a lender, not even a real estate agent. It's really a lender to see what your particular situation is.
Yep.
So, and going back to...
She got all perky.
No, but on knock.com where it says get pre-approved, I'm very curious if their guidelines are different than like a traditional lender's guidelines.
I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't either. So we need to do some recon, man.
Well, we need to read this before we go on the show. Hold on, learn more. Win your dream home with not guaranteed offer.
Guaranteed.
Cashback.
Nothing
offer,
in life is
appraisal,
guaranteed.
free refund. We'll read more about this as we go along. I mean, this is
knowing that there's options out there. I think that's the biggest point is making sure you're. I love my P's.
I used to be on Tinder.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
I know there's options out there.
Oh, I bet. Like Tinder, Bumble.
Whatever.
OnlyFans now. I don't know if I can know.
Oh,
but
boy.
doing your recon and understanding, who your team is behind you. And we would love to be your team. Don't get me wrong. However, Robert and I, and I'm assuming Brayden would agree with me, is it's always what's best for the consumer. We may not be perfect for you. Robert may not be perfect for you. Our lenders that we love may not be perfect.
I'm a big pill to swallow.
And we love to share our recon and what we've seen. And if any of you guys have used any of the programs that we share, we would love the feedback too, and how your experience was. What was your experience with that title company?
So drop us
how
a
are they
line,
involved?
Leave us a comment, leave us a question, whatever you want. We'll take it as it comes. One last thing that I wanted to bring up, and then we can kind of go on a rant about Brayden. I don't know if he has anything in the holster ready to come out. But I did want to share with you our current market situation conditions. Demand continues to decrease. We keep seeing this every week. Demand is decreasing. Supply is starting to kind of hit that marker too. It's starting to decrease, which is kind of odd. Green does not mean good. Green just means we're oversupplied, but we're slowly approaching that balanced market on the supply side. Definitely in the negative area. Red means low demand. So we keep creeping on the low side. So at some point, and you can kind of see it in the overall market index, that we're just on the tipping point of being a negative market. Essentially a buyer's market, which is red. Yeah. Green means seller's market.
It's it's interesting to see, or I'm interested to see
in color
what's going to happen
color.
in like January and February. What is going to happen in our market?
Let me ask Brayden, did you ever watch TV in black and white?
I did not.
Oh, boy.
We used to have a black
tell
and
you
white
he's such
Yes.
You didn't watch
We had
TV
a floor
in black and
TV.
white.
We had three. We had channel
we had
3, 5.
I did have a
10,
VHS player.
12,
well.
15.
That's at least a step in the right direction.
And anytime we wanted, my grandpa would be like, "Hey, Blondie," or Rugrat, or whatever. Mostly Rugrat. "Hey, Rugrat, go crawl over there and change the station," because we had to click
Yep.
TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was
we had an auto tuner where you had when you turn on the TV, it's like.
Yeah,
and
and you have antennas you have to put tinfoil on sometimes.
Yeah, that too. But you had to wait for the auto tuner to kick in for the clear picture.
Yeah. We're not that much older, but like I think being raised by elderly people.
So do you know
We're a
why
little
they
bit
call it
behind.
the late night show?
Why did they call it the late night show?
Because it was the last show of the evening. Because
After that, he was
TV
done.
just shut off
Shut
like
off at certain
at
times.
like 11 p.m.
Oh,
There
really?
would be nothing on until like 7, 8 o'clock the next morning.
Huh. So it's actually
Yeah.
being streamed or whatever live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about this.
Yeah, live.
Well,
yeah.
broadcast.
Broadcasted, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so the late show is because that was the last
the
show
last
of the
show.
evening.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Who was the original late show host? Do you know?
Oh shit! It was in black and white.
I
Johnny
don't.
Carson, but I don't know if there was somebody
No.
before that.
I think
there
Johnny
was.
Carson was the OG man.
I'm
gonna Google that shit.
He might have been second in line. If anybody knows who the first late night TV talk show host is,
Man, you always make me research stuff.
and then David Letterman came in later because he was competing. He wanted the late night show. The whole Jay Leno thing. Anyway, so Brayden, since we're wrapping up the end of the show, is there anything, just like I said, in the holster, ready to pop that you've been wanting to share regarding title, regarding the real estate market, or anything else that you have the spotlight since
Yeah.
you're our guest of honor?
What's in the holster, man? Let's see. Really just excited for Arizona's future, to be honest. Excited for Great American's future, but excited for Arizona's future. We've got a lot of really cool things on the horizon with Super Bowl and Waste Management coming up. Waste Management is always my favorite week of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love waste management.
It's the best. Everyone's out there all week, and a lot of good networking going on, and just it's just probably the most entertaining week of the year, I think, for Arizona. And so I think all the people that are coming into town, it's going to be a record-breaking year for Waste Management from what it looks like. They've got Maroon 5 coming out for their concert in the Coliseum.
Oh.
So that's going to be really cool. And it's just going to drive a ton of people to Arizona. And so obviously, right, like you mentioned, Robert, that we're kind of going into a buyer's market. So people that are coming into Arizona for that week, it's going to be a good time to go out with your real estate agent and see what you
Ashley's
can find
about
out
ready to
there.
pee her pants right
No,
now.
I'm about to like make my kids pack up their shit and put it like in a storage for a hot minute and freaking rent out our house because we've got 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. One of the rooms has a bunk bed and a trundle, so that's 3 people. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Did you ever look into that
Like-
Furnish Finder? I told you to look into. So Furnish Finder's for nurses. So like if you have an extra room or you have like a basement that you're underutilizing, Furnish Finder is and it's all doctors, traveling nurses.
That's right.
I think there's predominantly traveling nurses, but it's an app that you can rent out a room.
Yeah, well, I was telling
have a
my
casita at
husband,
my
I'm
house, so
like,
we're thinking about doing that.
between Super Bowl and Waste Management open, and we live literally a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Yep.
We're leaving.
Yeah, we're in between the golf
And-
course and Old Town. So it's
Right,
only
so
the
it's
same
like-
thing.
And if you get those Maroon 5 tickets for the Waste Management, that will be your best friend, Braden.
Well, and I told my boys because we have like I don't know how many
And they've got Jason
Xboxes.
Aldean on Thursday night.
Oh,
If you
Jason
have to. I
Aldean.
mean, if we,
I forget who.
I don't even know who that
what's
is, by the way.
who's the guy that's dating the Kardashians?
Kanye?
No,
No.
the other guy,
Oh,
Machine Gun Kelly.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
He's coming one of the nights, I believe.
Oh,
and
sure.
they've got some
See, yep,
interesting
we're
lineups.
definitely renting out our house, and we're gonna stay at like the Marriott or the Westin or something. Be way more fun.
I've
Yeah, if
got a short-term property management rental buddy, and he said they're filling up that
That's
week
what
right
they're
now.
doing,
So
yeah.
it's just anybody that wants to do just a week-long rental. That's the minimum that they'll
Seriously?
do, and he's charging. I think it's like $500.
Dude, I'll even
and
freaking leave
10%
them a
of the
car.
Yeah,
Like I got an extra car. They can even drive that too. We got an old school '82 Mercedes.
there you go. Comes with the car. Sign me up.
or if you live along the 101 freeway, I mean, it's a straight shoot up to the Waste Management golf area.
Yeah. So short-term rental. I mean, if you own your home, like if you're okay with like taking a few of your items out and renting it out, or temporarily buying one. I don't know. I mean,
Well, and if you live around Glendale, Super Bowl's coming, man.
Yep.
So time to spit shine that
Pay your
house.
mortgage for 6 months.
that's what I'm talking about. I even told my boys, because they drive. I'm like, you guys. I mean, they're not 18, but I was like, they should become like Uber. Maybe I could sign up and just have them drive. I'm like, all you guys would have to do is just drive people. They don't. Obviously, they're young. They don't drink. They have nice cars.
Yep.
They can make a shit ton of money and pay their own freaking car payments.
So who's your prediction for the Super Bowl, Braden? Oh,
Probably
The
Chiefs
Bills.
At this point. Yeah, Bills look all right.
if the Raiders ever made it
I don't know,
to
Philly looked pretty good last night. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
if the Raiders ever made it to Super Bowl and they came here to Phoenix, do not rent your house out to Raiders fans because they are nuts, man.
Yeah.
They are completely.
I would run
crazy.
it out to the Chiefs or
I
Bills.
got scared last time I was in Oakland when there was the Oakland Raider.
Oh,
I got scared
dude,
in that airport. They are some
Holy
scary
shit.
fans.
I went to a game in Oakland. My girlfriends and I were out there. We did like a girls trip, and we got on the train and went down to the stadium.
Yep.
And it's the first time we'd all been to that particular stadium. And I get out, I'm like, what the fuck did I just get myself into? But the stadium actually is really cool. It has a garden with like flowers, and it's really cute and quaint. It's not like it doesn't remind me of like a
sounds
real
adorable.
stadium.
Sounds
It's
adorable,
so
yeah.
adorable.
Yeah.
This is Oakland.
So it was in Oakland. Yeah.
Well, they're the Las Vegas Raiders now. So.
yeah, I know.
I don't know what
So-
kind of Vegas.
Speaking of stadium, have you guys been to Mullet Stadium yet?
What is that?
Oh,
It's the new- it's
I
the
don't
new
watch
Tempe
sports.
Stadium. It's the Coyote Stadium where ASU plays. ASU.
They're calling it the mullet?
It's called Mullet Stadium.
Of course it is, because the mullet is back, man.
It's the owner's last name.
Why do you think I have a mullet on my business card?
I love it.
oh,
Mullets are
boy.
back.
I hear it's amazing. I haven't gone yet. But I
I heard having a mullet is amazing too.
Yeah.
But is there anything else we need to share? Because we're wrapping up the show.
Yeah, no, I think this is awesome.
And Braden, anything else?
I don't think so. This was awesome though. Thank you for having me on.
Miss Perkins, do you have anything last in the holster?
No, I couldn't find out who was the original Johnny Carson.
That's kind of what I thought too. But
Yeah, no.
anyway, so
You're welcome.
we're going to be catching you here every week on Monday Market 15.
That's
Sometimes,
a lie. Jack Parr.
well, you can't.
Sorry.
Okay, what is it now?
Jack P-A-A-R.
I knew there was somebody before Johnny Carson.
1957
And then it says various hosts
For a year.
for 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. For no, only a year. Look, April
Only a year.
2nd to October
Oh,
1st, yeah.
And then
Johnny
Jay-
Carson.
Yeah, and then Jay Leno took over.
Jack Parr.
Which
You're welcome.
Jay Leno actually almost died like a week
What?
ago.
Oh,
One of his
because
car
it's-
exploded.
Yeah, fire in his face.
Yeah.
That's great.
Anyway, so we're going to be wrapping up the show today. So I appreciate you guys coming down. Braden, Great American Title. Ashley Perkins, no longer Miller. I keep
Ashley Miller Perkins.
It's on the tip of my tongue to always say
It
that.
depends on his behavior.
I won't fill that one in. But I want to thank everybody for joining us. Leave your comments or questions. We'll get back to you as we come along, and we'll see you guys next Monday.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. We'll see you.